Well, Seth Moulton isn't becoming president anytime soon, but he's doing his best to articulate his party's evolving position on firearms. On CNN last night, Moulton pledged that if he ever gets real power, he will take guns away from you and every other law-abiding American who's committed no crime.
Weapons of war have no place on our streets or in our schools. And whether it's declaring a national emergency or pursuing executive action, I will do whatever I can to actually make progress on this gun violence plague in America.
Mr. Andover, Harvard, again, weapons of war, you may be thinking, where are these weapons of war? They're on our streets? No, actually they're not. They never have been. They're locked away in the armory of your local military base. That's where weapons of war are held. What Moulton is referring to are semi-automatic weapons, like the ones that you use for home defense or to hunt deer or hogs. Seth Moulton can't take those away without provoking a civil war. Apparently he's happy to do that. Meanwhile, in Brazil last week, Barack Obama told more lies about guns in a single paragraph than had seemed possible before he began speaking. Watch this.
Some of you may be aware our gun laws in the United States don't make much sense. Anybody can buy any weapon anytime without much, if any, regulation. They can buy it over the internet. They can buy machine guns.
They can buy machine guns over the internet. Really? Go ahead and try and do that. Actually, you can't buy guns over the internet. You can't order a gun on the internet and have it delivered to your house. It has to go to someone with a federal firearms license. Machine guns? Yeah, good luck buying one of those under any circumstances. Very hard. And of course, there are many categories of people, felons, the mentally ill, others, who can't buy guns at all ever. Anybody can buy any weapon at any time? That's not a bad interpretation of the law. It's a lie, told by someone who was definitely smart enough to know better. The United States has a lot of gun laws. The left isn't looking for more regulation, but outright bans followed by confiscations. Buyback, that's the euphemism. But it's not voluntary, it's mandatory. And by the way, it's not a buyback because they didn't own the guns in the first place. You did. Most of them won't admit that, though. That's why Senator Cory Booker couldn't figure out exactly what to say when he was asked how he would have prevented the most recent mass shooting in Virginia Beach. Watch this.
ATF says that the two weapons used in the attack were handguns, not semi-automatic assault rifles, and they say that they were purchased legally. How would your plan have stopped this tragedy, if at all?
We are not helpless to stop this. This is a uniquely American problem. This idea that we are helpless to stop this is the evidence points differently.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you keep saying we're not helpless, so I'm saying what would have prevented this tragedy? What steps specifically would have stopped the massacre in Virginia Beach?
And you've taken a look at the 16, 17 things we have in my plan that would drop the levels of violence overall.
I hear you not talking about this specific massacre, but talking about gun violence in general.
What a buffoon. What a buffoon. A Yale law guy, by the way. Very impressive, our leaders. Ryan Cleckner is impressive, actually. Former special operations sniper, firearms attorney, and a columnist now at The Federalist. He joins us tonight. Ryan, thanks very much for coming on.
Thanks for having me back.
I don't even want to bore you with the rhetorical question. What could we have done to prevent this or that shooting Cory Booker has done? I mean, how fraudulent does this position have to be before all of us stop playing along and stop pretending that it's about safety? It's not about safety, obviously.
It's not. It's absolutely not about safety. There's not a single thing in Senator Booker's proposal that would have done anything to help the tragedy that happened in Virginia Beach. I mean, he's proposing universal background checks. The background checks were passed. He's proposing one handgun a month. One handgun in the evil person's hands is too many. These laws are an admission. We've talked about this before. Every call for new gun laws is an admission that current gun laws don't work.
What bothers me is the idea of the society fracturing, of, of disorder in the country, of, what would happen if you actually tried to start taking people's guns away, law-abiding citizens' guns away. There's normal people who've checked every box and done everything they've been asked to do, and then the federal government, some leaders says we're taking their guns. I mean, what would happen to the country?
Well, I mean, the reason we have the Second Amendment doesn't give us the right to bear arms. It protects that right for us.
Right.
And it's there to help protect against a tyrannical government. But on the other side, I'm nervous, Tucker. I hate to admit it, but I used to live in Connecticut when they came out with the assault weapons ban, the so-called assault weapons ban, and people turned them in and they obeyed. I would hope, at least if it happened on a federal scale, that people would wake up and realize this is exactly the reason. When you have a politician telling you that you don't need a gun, that's when you need a gun. So I hope people figure out what's going on here. I hope people see through these lies, and that's part of the problem. When these lies are coming out, they're not only not doing any good, they're misleading people.
It's just a form. It's so clearly a form of social control. Where's the conversation about the people who are actually committing gun violence? So it's a fairly small group of people. It's not, narrowed to one group of people or one geographic location, but it's a small percentage of the population that is dangerous, and yet their plans all entail disarming everyone else. Why?
Yeah, they disarming everyone else, which is just almost inviting. I know it's a strong word, but inviting these shootings. These shootings happen predominantly, almost all of them, at gun-free zones. Yeah. The tool doesn't matter. The common denominator of any one of these mass terrorist type events is a deranged evil person bent on hurting innocent people.
Well,
whether
exactly
they use a
right.
box cutter on 9/11 or bombs in Texas or the marathon bomber in Boston, the tool is not going to stop them. I mean, we already have murder is already illegal. We even talked about this before. Unless you're going to make the penalty for possession of a gun higher than murder, it's not going to deter these sick people from doing what they're doing.
So very quick, and you wrote a great piece about this today, but Barack Obama saying that anybody can buy any firearm, including machine guns, online at any time. There's so many falsehoods in that would have to be an intentional lie, correct?
Absolutely. Well, and it wasn't told here. That's another hint to me that it's an intentional lie. He has to know better. And now here he is again traveling to foreign countries talking bad about America.
Well, that's right. That's the deeper point, which I'm glad that you made. Ryan, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me on, Tucker.